Yo, what's going on, guys? And today I wanted to talk about why I believe the Golden State Warriors are underrated. So before we start today's video, I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. Do you agree with me? Are the Warriors underrated? And if so, let me hear those thoughts. If not, let me hear those thoughts. Let me hear them down below in the comment section. Like and subscribe. Let's get into this. Are the Warriors underrated? They had an extremely solid draft, even though Kuminga isn't polished or necessarily NBA ready. I think he's good enough to contribute a small amount, and he can help create shots when Steph is on the bench. Moody, on the other hand, I believe is totally NBA ready. He'll fit the Warriors game plan perfectly. He's a smart player, capable defender with a 7-foot wingspan, and he's got a great shot. Although they didn't get any big names in free agency, they did pick up Otto Porter Jr., who is a great addition if he's playing and healthy. Another elite shooter and capable defender who can play either the 3 or 4 and even sometimes the 2. And another year of development from Wiseman will do this team wonders. And I'm really hoping Wiseman gets a chance to contribute this year. People forget how good Klay Thompson is and how much he's added to this team. His gravity and creation will have their offense humming once again, and their defense will improve as well. Jordan Poole, Juan Toscano-Anderson, Damion Lee, Gary Payton II, Nemanja, Damion Lee, Otto Porter, Moody, Andre Igoudala, Mychael Mulder give the Warriors bench depth that is a combination of floor spacing with a lot of three-point shooting and versatile defenders that can guard multiple positions. I think their closing lineup will be Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, and either Otto Porter, Andre Iguodala, or Moses Moody. But in the future, I could imagine a closing lineup of Steph Curry, Klay, Moody, Kuminga, and Draymond, and that sounds pretty neat to me. The West has gotten a bit weaker, and this team can totally climb into the top 5 spot. But I know there's a lot of unknowns with the Warriors because of age and injuries. Can Klay and Otto Porter Jr. play and shoot at their usual levels coming back from injuries? Can the young lottery picks be positive contributors in their rookie year? Will they make a win now trade for a win now player? Those questions add a lot of variance to what the Warriors can be. Personally, I think the Warriors' floor is being a second-tier contenders, sort of like Denver, good enough to win it all if everything breaks right, but probably a second round out. That's their floor. I think their ceiling is championship contenders. Weirdly, I'm looking at Wiggins. He's never going to be the star that some people expected. And as a Minnesota fan, it's hard for me to admit that. But I can see him filling a combination of the Harrison Barnes, Andre Iguodala role with better numbers. I think a 2 to 6 seed is a realistic position for them to end up. The West is wide open in my opinion. I don't think the Bledsoe move moves the needle much for the Clippers. And Kawhi has to stay healthy for them to be even good. I think Westbrook and LeBron and Davis is going to be awesome. And I think they're the front runners out of the West. And the Nuggets could be good if Jamal Murray comes back. And the Utah Jazz, they need to see if they can fix what went wrong in the playoffs. And Phoenix played the Lakers without their second player. They played the Nuggets without their second player. And they played the Clippers without their best player. I think the Suns are still a good team, but everything fell perfectly for them. The dominoes fell in the right order. And we saw the Suns beat the Milwaukee Bucks when Giannis was injured. And then when the Bucks were healthy, they won 4 out of 5 games. The Phoenix Suns were outmatched when the Bucks were healthy. I believe that Moody and Kuminga are closing games are going to either be something we see at the end of the year because it works really well, or something we don't see at all because they tried it out and it didn't work well. Either way, I think they're steals of the draft in my opinion, and great insurances if injuries take out either Wiggins, Iguodala, Otto Porter Jr., Looney, or Juan Toscano-Anderson. Though I think Jordan Poole is most likely out of the young guys to be closing games than the rooks. I think the biggest question for the Warriors is whether or not Thompson returns to form. Don't get me wrong, he's an incredible player, but he hasn't played NBA level basketball in over 2 years. If he can play at the same level he was 3 years ago, then yes, the Warriors are completely underrated. We've seen what a core of Curry, Thompson, and Green can do to you. But if he's not the same players, the Warriors could struggle. They'll still be a decent team if he struggles, and I expect them to make the playoffs regardless. But I don't know if they can win a series, let alone make it to the NBA Finals, if Thompson isn't the same player. Well, if you look at the team's rookies And in the depth that they had, this is a good team. And I know it's hard to believe that an 18 or 19-year-old rookies that were recently drafted are going to be that good and able to contribute. Though maybe they will be. But if it feels like you're saying the Warriors are going to be underrated, is a very optimistic expectation. And I think a lot of people are looking at that as an optimistic expectation, but I think it's more that I'm saying they're underrated because I feel like people are thinking they're just going to be terrible and the same team that they were last year, that they overachieved last year. Though this is without accounting for James Wiseman, who's a second-year player who looked very raw and kind of bad at times in his rookie year. And we're hoping that he'll make a jump, and that Klay, who we know won't be ready for the start of the season, will return, and how long it'll take him to get back up to speed. Will James Wiseman take that jump, and will Klay Thompson be able to come up back to speed? But in my opinion, they'll be an excellent team if healthy, which is said, I think the second seed at most is what I believe their ceiling is and being championship contenders. But people need to realize they weren't that bad last year. They were the 9th seed, and they added a top 20 player along with some decent role players. Seems to have to make you at least get a little bit better. And you're thinking, true, but it's still unknown with them. It's been 3 years since we've seen a fully healthy Warriors team, and it's 5 years since before Durant was there. And my response to that is they are a respected team. No one sees them as a bad team. No one's saying this is a terrible team. So it's hard to discredit them. And I think, yes, we just need to see how this new Warriors team play. And it's easy to say they'll be great when Klay comes back, but we don't even know how Klay will be. And again, the biggest question is, will he be 100% from the rip, or will there be load management? There's a lot of questions that won't be answered until they start playing. But at the end of the day, you got to respect their core 3 guys. Steph is still Steph, and Klay and Draymond are wild cards. But Klay probably can still shoot, and Draymond has been able to compensate for being unable to shoot. So Iggy obviously isn't the same player as when he left. With all that being said, Wiseman, Kuminga, Moody are all way better prospects than Damian Jones, Eric Pascal, Jordan Bell, and Patrick McCaw were. And all those dudes were at least contributing role players on a championship caliber team. If everyone is healthier, this team is comparable to 2015 with Wiggins filling that Barnes-Igoudala role. And I think this is a pretty high ceiling. So I want to hear your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of this team? I think that's basically it, what I have from you guys. That was an 8-minute video. Did not expect that. But yeah, so let me hear those thoughts, guys. I'm going to peace out. Peace. Ooh, we're gonna milk this for 8 minutes. I did that also in one take, so suck my nuts.